Welcome to Scalable and Saleable, where we find out what great entrepreneurs have done to scale their businesses to millions. Stay right here for the next few minutes to leverage validated methodologies for growth and create a way more scalable and a more sellable business for yourself. Let's get started. Would you mind telling our audience a little bit more about you and who you are in your business?
Sure. So it's just knows I'm Steve Tarte. So I work in the engineering field, but I work across the board at more of a breadth to be able to scale. So I started out with a civil engineering firm, but now I currently own a civil engineering firm. I have a traffic data collection firm. I bought a structural forensics firm in Atlanta back last year. I bought a pavement management engineering firm back in 2017. So we
Wow.
basically went from 8 people to 130 people in about 4.5 years. And we're continuing.
Wow.
I have deals in the works now to add another 12 million in revenue in 23. So
Woo! From 8 people to 130 people in 4.5 years.
yes,
Over, at least last update on the website, almost 13,000 projects completed.
that is
But
correct.
that is
Yes, over
incredible.
time.
Well, we're excited to have you here and get a chance to pick your brain. That
Yeah, I'm glad to be
grows.
here.
8 people to 130 people in 4.5 years.
Mhm.
What do you attribute your growth to?
So it's two things. But I would say it's about 50% organic, so hiring people, that kind of thing. But the real accelerator was the mergers and acquisitions. So go out and buying similar companies or companies that are indirectly related to what I was originally doing. And it's been great.
Yeah, that's been a topic lately in our CEO peer groups about growth through acquisition. I'm sure
Yeah.
you have learned a lot on that path.
Yeah.
Based off the past experiences and the hindsight that you have now,
Mhm.
if you were coming into a brand new, totally different business, what would be some of the
Yes.
first things that you think you'd look into to start growing that business?
Yeah, I think one of the main things would be is what's the culture for the business, right? For the industry and the culture of that company. The other thing is if I'm going to acquire something from someone, that means somebody's leaving probably. Right now in the industry, it's rare where the owner stays more than a couple of years transition period. So you're really looking for that second level of leadership. Does it exist? And if not, then who do I find out in the marketplace that's going to help lift that brand or grow that sector of the business that we're
Mm,
going to get involved in. So it's
wow.
really it's people are very important.
Yeah, wow, man, that's a takeaway and a half right there. What do you feel most small business owners do wrong?
I think most business owners we kind of when I started we fly by the seat of our pants. And I think a little bit of it is as an entrepreneur, you're like, hey, I know, or I'll figure it out. And the truth is sometimes you don't know, and sometimes you don't figure it out. And you run a business a few years and suddenly you're out. One of probably the best things I did in 2018 is we adopted a operating model called Traction, and it's a book by
Yep,
Gino Wickman. I'm sure
yep,
it's popular, and it made a difference for us. And then we did other things like we used predictive index around our human resources. We brought in a company called UKG, dealt with those things. So we've done things as we've grown to really help make good systems that take care of our people. Because I'll tell you, one of the things that got pretty crazy is that through all this growth, our onboarding was terrible. And it got to a point where, some of the new folks after a month or so were like, did I make the right decision? So that's another key thing besides the business model is you've got to onboard people and make sure they feel onboarded in a great way because they need to feel good from the very beginning. And then you need to keep track of them and keep working with them and keep
mm,
building their career path, right? I mean, money is money and people are working for a paycheck to take care of the rest of their life, but they want to feel needed. They want to feel fulfilled. They want to feel like they're on a purpose and a mission. And you got to
yeah,
create that in whatever business you're running for your employees and those of your colleagues and your teammates to really help row that boat in the same direction.
yeah, that's awesome, man, for sure. You mentioned Traction by Gino Wickman. Gino Wickman was a big influence. Are
It
there any
was.
other books that have been really influential in your growth?
Well, I think Good to Great has been a good book. So I've read a number of different business books, but really, I think what I liked about the Gino Wickman book was he was classic of, I'm not going to teach anything new. I'm just going to organize it. And if you do 80% of what this book says in an organized manner, you'll drastically change your companies. And that's what we
Yeah.
did. And so as I
Wow.
do acquisitions, that's one of the first things we did is we put them on our accounting platform and we start Traction inside
Mm.
there. So yeah,
Blocking and tackling, huh?
that's exactly right. And when
Wow.
we get to do more, as we get to do more to make it more systemized, that it makes it more scalable.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
So I've got 13 companies and I've got one COO that
Oh,
oversees from kind of a holding company perspective. Now I have operators of each business unit, but I don't have to have a COO for each one because we have systems in place that help scale so he can
mhm.
watch over more. And the whole idea is to keep that corporate overhead down, right?
Yeah.
When I add a brand and all of a sudden they're like, well, what's this overhead cost? Or why are you charging us that? My goal is to keep that as low as possible across as many companies as possible. So everybody
Right.
benefits.
Yeah. Wow. That's all, man. It's a machine. Um, if you could go back in time to when you first started out, back to the 8 people
Yep.
part, and say one thing to a few years younger you, what would you say?
Be open to mentors. Be open to ideas. Be open to the ideas from your employees. There
Mm,
is, I think as an entrepreneur, we kind of like, we have to do it. We're the bull charging, we've come up with the idea, which is that's all true. But everyone around you can help accentuate that or give it a spin or a twist or a polish that makes it even better. And so I
right.
would say that for sure. Getting a mentor, being part of like a CEO group, those kind of things are
Mhm.
invaluable. And
Yeah. Hey.
my monthly CEO meeting is my favorite time of the month. I enjoy that immensely, and I look forward to it every time we get together.
Yeah. I am the same on that one. Um, what question should I be asking you that I haven't?
I don't know. So maybe one other piece of business advice, and I'm not the originator of this, but I am now an evangelist of it. Is fail fast, right? So you take my situation where I've got a number of firms. Well, I'm not King Midas, so not everything's always going to be successful, right? So you really want to dig in. If you acquire a business or you start a business, you want to dig in and figure out, is it going to be successful, or is it not? And it's okay to fail because you learn so much more from failure than you do from school or a book or whatever. When you're in the trenches in the battle and you learn things that you shouldn't do, or a business fails, likelihood of you doing that twice is pretty slim. So that makes your next opportunity even better set up to be successful. But don't be
Yeah.
afraid to fail and fail fast so you can move on to what's going to be successful.
Right. What do I learn from this? What am I gonna do better next time? How can we improve because of this? How did this was this happening for us in some way? Now that the crappy part is over.
That's
Any
right.
parting words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow?
Yeah, I would say that you want to get people smarter than you. And that can be tough for an entrepreneur to think about that. Oh, I've got people smarter than me. No, I'm the smartest guy in the room. No, you want people smarter than you so it can grow and scale. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing those that are a part of your team, part of your scale, a disservice also.